I must say hello to all of my friends and subscribers around the world. Today, I'll be speaking on persecution, wars, and conflicts of the Jewish people of Israel. No weapon that is formed against the state of Israel shall prosper. Israel shall prevail over its enemies at all times. I will like Islam to acknowledge the truth about the land of Gaza. I will also like for all Palestinians in the Middle East and around the world to see clearly and to acknowledge the truth about the land of Israel and Gaza and what is causing all of the problems between Jews and the Palestinians. The children of Gaza should not be brainwashed and led astray of their history. They must know the truth about the land on which they live. Now, the persecution of the Jewish people who are known in the Bible or Torah as the children of Israel. We now read in the book of Genesis chapter 15 and verse 13. And he, the Lord, said unto Abram, that is Abraham, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. God made this astounding declaration to Abraham, and for more than 3,500 years, from Egypt to Europe, nations have tried to destroy the Jewish people, to take them out of existence. Although this prophecy was fulfilled when Israel was taken captive in Egypt, since that time Israel has been a sojourner in various nations for a good portion of our 3,500-year history. Nation after nation has tried to exterminate the Jewish people as the blight of the world. Just think of that. Nations after nations have tried to exterminate the Jewish people as the blight of the world. That's what they thought or think about the Jewish people. A simple glance at this persecution is startling. Such nations as Egypt, Assyria, Syria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, Rome, and Germany have all tried to destroy the Jewish people, to take them out of existence, but God still preserved them. Now, in 70 AD, Rome destroyed Jerusalem, killing 1 million Jews and taking 97,000 into slavery. Just think of that. They destroyed Jerusalem, killing 1 million Jews and taking 97,000 into slavery. That was 70 AD. In 1189, when Richard the Lion-Hearted became King of England, he burned most of the Jewish homes in London and killed many Jews. In 1306, King Philip banished 100,000 Jews from France at a moment's notice. In 1348, Jews were blamed for the plague which broke out in Europe, and thousands were burned or tortured to death. Then in 1492, during the Spanish Inquisition, thousands of Jews were forced to leave Spain without their possessions. Many were taken slaves or killed as they wandered to various countries. Then in 1903, Russia restricted and massacred thousands of Jews, leaving them in an impoverished state. Then in 1933 to 1945, the Jewish population of Europe suffered its greatest persecution when Hitler destroyed 6 million Jews. Just think of that. The persecution of the children of Israel. That was a big loss for the children of Israel during 1933 and 1945. 6 millions were being massacred, killed, murdered. Just think of it. How do you expect the Jewish people to react when they are still being attacked in their homeland? Don't they have the right to defend themselves? Now, ever since the Jewish people, the children of Israel, have returned to their homeland and became a democratic nation in 1948 officially, they are always having problems with the neighboring countries and also Gaza. There are lots of dispute in the land of the Jewish people. The countries that surround Israel will not accept the fact that God has given the land to the children of Israel. Also, Gaza will not accept Israel as a democratic nation. So they are always having land ownership dispute and conflicts. Now, if we open the book of the Torah or the Bible in the first chapter of Genesis, the first verse said, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth." God created the heaven and the earth. So God can do whatever he wants with Mother's earth. Not any man-made document that can be stolen. So God gave Israel the Holy Land, the promised land, and no one can steal it or take it away from them. Neither the United Nations or the world sum up against them. That is a God-given land. If God created the heaven and the earth, God can do whatever he wants. So God has given them that land. Now, Israel had a 6-day war in June of 1967. It was fought between Israel and the Arab neighbors, Egypt, Jordan, and Syria. The nations of Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Algeria, and others also contributed troops and arms to the Arab forces. Israel was triumphant in that war. Then Israel had the Yom Kippur War, fought from the 6th to the 26th of October 1973 by a coalition of Arab states led by Egypt and Syria against Israel. Israel was again victorious in that war. Then there was the Palestinian insurgency in South Lebanon in 1971 to 1972. This is when the PLO relocate to South Lebanon from Jordan and stage attacks on Galilee and as a base for international operations. Continued ground and rockets attacks eventually escalate into the 1982 war. Then in 1982, the Lebanon War began on June 6, 1982. This was resulted in the expulsion of the PLO from Lebanon and created an Israeli security zone in southern Lebanon. Then South Lebanon conflict 1985 to 2000, nearly 15 years of warfare. Then there was a large scale of Palestinian uprising against Israel in the West Bank and the Gaza Strip between 1987 and 1993. Then another Palestinian uprising, a period of intensified violence which began in late September 2000. Then the Lebanon War in the summer of 2006, which ended on September 8, 2006. Then the Gaza War, or Operation Cast Lead, in December 2008 to January 2009, 3-week armed conflict between Israel and Hamas. Then again, Israeli operation in the Gaza Strip, or Operation Pillar of Defense, occurred in November 2012. Then in 2014, Gaza War, or Operation Protective Edge, July to August 2014. Then the Syrian Civil War that began in 2011. Then in 2021, Israel-Palestinian Crisis, or Operation Guardian of the Walls, May 2021. There were riots between Jews and Arabs in Israeli cities. Also, Hamas in Gaza sent military rockets into Israel, and Iron Dome intercepted most dangerous out rockets. Now again in 2023, Israel-Hamas war. Just think of it. From since 1948 up until now, they're still having problem when Hamas attacked them again on October 7, 2023. An armed conflict between Hamas-led Palestinian militant groups and Israel militant forces began on October 7, 2023, 50 years after the start of the 1973 Yom Kippur War. Hamas coordinated surprise offensive, codenamed Al-Aqsa Flood, began in the morning with a barrage of at least 5,000 rockets launched from the Gaza Strip against Israel, while some 2,500 Palestinian militants breached the Gaza-Israel barrier, massacred and set fire to civilian communities, and attacked Israel Defense Forces military bases near Gaza Strip. Israel military forces began conducting retaliatory strikes before the Israelite government formally declared war on Hamas a day later. The 2023 war, the fiercest since the Yom Kippur War, is part of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict which started in May 1948 and which since 2005 has seen most of its military exertions taking place or emanating from the Gaza Strip. Hamas, which has been the ruling party of the Gaza Strip since 2007, avoided major engagements with Israel in 2022 and most of 2023. What were they doing? I guess they were preparing for the massive attack which they did on October 7, 2023. Now, what are all these fighting wars about? They said Israel occupation. I am now quoting from Mossab Hassan Yusuf's speech. What occupation are you talking about? Do you mean end to Israel and give Hamas what they want? Give Hamas weaponry, more territory, soldiers, army, so they can mess more with the global security? Are you totally blind? How can't you see the thing in common between the West and Israel? And how can't you see the violence and the brutality of Hamas movement? Or it's your hatred? You have nothing to do with Palestine. You're just projected hatred and inflicting emotional pain on the Jewish people as they mourn a modern-day Holocaust? Do you think this is how you help Palestine? There is no such a thing as Palestine. Palestine what? Yasser Arafat Palestine, PLO Palestine, PA Palestine, Hamas Palestine, Islamic Jihad Palestine. What Palestine are you protesting for? You have no idea what you are talking about. Now, the Palestinians in Gaza were supposed to be happy and contented for that piece of land that is called Gaza. They were supposed to work and develop their land and not to make wars with Israel. Israel has developed worked their way through, and became a democratic state in 1948. Palestinians in Gaza were supposed to do the same, but instead they seek wars and the destruction of Israel since 1948 up until now. Now, on today's map, the land God has stated belonged to Israel includes everything modern-day Israel possesses, plus all the territory occupied by the Palestinians, the West Bank and Gaza, plus some of Egypt and Syria, plus all of Jordan. Just think of it. According to Genesis 15 and 18 and Joshua 1 and 4, the land God gave to Israel included everything from the Nile River in Egypt to Lebanon. The land of Israel is a God-given inheritance of the Jewish people based on the Torah, the Holy Bible, particularly the books of Genesis, Exodus, Numbers, and so forth. Nothing can change this preeminent fact. Israel is entitled to the land it has and has been over 3,000 years. In reality, the Jewish people maintain ties to their historic homeland for more than 3,700 years. I want the Muslims around the world to digest that, and all the Palestinians in Gaza and around the world also to digest that. The Jews have lost possession many a times of the land of Israel from time to time because they had to be on the run from their own land just to avoid persecution and death. But they have neither lost their God-given title. God gave the land of Israel to Abraham and to his descendants through Isaac and Jacob, which means the land belongs to the descendants of Jacob, whose name was changed by God to Israel. In other words, the land belongs to the children of Israel, referred to in the New Testament as the Jews in Romans 1:16. To prove that God has given the land to Israel, the land of Israel to Abraham, you'll find it in Genesis 17, Genesis 26, and Genesis 28. Now, if God has given the children of Israel that land, the promised land, which is now officially Israel, will God protect it? Sure, he will. God will protect his people, the children of Israel. Why? Because they are the apple of God's eye. Now, this is a reminder to Hamas and the Palestinian militants and all those who support them. The God of Israel will destroy every one of you, the same way he destroyed the Egyptians at the Red Sea when they were coming after the children of Israel. Man has got to know his limitation. Enough is enough. It's time for Hamas to release all the hostages and to lay down their arms before it's too late for them. In the Bible, or the Torah, we read in the book of Amos, chapter 1, from verse 6. This is what the Lord said, and this is from the New Living Translation. The people of Gaza have sinned again and again, and I will not let them go unpunished. So I will send down fire on the walls of Gaza, and all its fortresses will be destroyed. Thus said the Lord. The people of Tyre have sinned again and again, and I will not let them go unpunished. They broke their treaty of brotherhood with Israel. Thus said the Lord. The people of Edom have sinned again and again, and I will not let them go unpunished. They chased down their relatives, the Israelites, with sword, showing them no mercy. In their rage, they slashed them continually and were unrelenting in their anger. So I will send down fire on Teman, and the fortresses of Bozrah will be destroyed. The people of Ammon have sinned again and again, and I will not let them go unpunished. When they attacked Gilead to extend their border, they ripped open pregnant women with their swords. So I will send down fire on the walls of Rabbah, and all its fortresses will be destroyed. The battle will come upon them with shouts like a whirlwind in a mighty storm. That is in the book of Amos chapter 1. And it's a prophecy, and it will come to pass. It will be fulfilled. Hamas should take warning to release all the hostages and to lay down their arms, or release, or else the God of Abraham will destroy them and also their underground tunnel, and they shall all perish. Release the hostages and put your arms down and give up. Now, this is the word of God, and is for Israel. Is the promise of God, the promise of God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Now all the evil forces of the world will try to overpower Israel, but they will not be able to do so, because God has promised to be their buckler and their shield. God is their defender. God has given them the land, and God will protect them. That is the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, who is the God of Israel. He is their protector and their defender. Now, in the book of Isaiah, in the Torah, or the Old Testament of the Bible, Isaiah 54 and verse 17, no weapon that is formed against Israel shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against Israel in judgment shall condemn. No matter what weapon is formed against Israel, it will never succeed, whether it be the false accusation of the United Nations or atomic warfare. Israel need not fear ultimate destruction, since the secret of her indestructibility is the overshadowing hand of God. For I, the Lord, dwell among the children of Israel. Numbers 35 and verse 34. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Deuteronomy 7 and verse 6. Now, in the book of Joshua, also in the Torah, the Bible, Joshua chapter 10 from verse 6. The men of Gibeon sent to Joshua at the camp at Gilgal, saying, do not forsake your servants. Come up to us quickly. Save us and help us, for all the kings of the Amorites who dwell in the mountains have gathered together against us. So Joshua ascended from Gilgal he and all the people of war with him, and all the mighty men of valor. And the Lord said to Joshua, do not fear them, for I have delivered them into your hand. Not a man of them shall stand before you. Joshua therefore came upon them suddenly, having marched all night from Gilgal. So the Lord routed them before Israel, killed them with a great slaughter at Gibeon, chased them along the road that goes to Beth-horon, and struck them down as far as Azekah and Makkedah. And it happened, as they fled before Israel, and were on the descent of Beth-horon, that the Lord cast down hailstones from heaven on them, and for Azekah, and they died. There were more who died from the hailstones than the children of Israel killed with the sword. Just think of that. God sent down hailstones from heaven and killed them all. God himself poured down large hailstones upon the enemies who were trying to destroy the children of Israel, and God killed them all. God promised to defend and protect his people, the children of Israel. He did scatter them around the world because of the disobedience, but God promised to bring them back to their homeland, which he did. And in 1948, Israel became a democratic state, flying their own flag. So God does not forget his promise. He brought them back to their homeland, and he will protect them. He is with the children of Israel right now, this day, this night, and will be forever with them. They are the apple of the eyes of God. Now, the same way he brought them back to the Holy Land, the Promised Land, is the same way he will protect them. Israel has no need to worry. The God of Israel will fight for them. May God bless them and keep them, and may he be among them like Joshua. Joshua means Savior. Now again, in the book of Isaiah chapter 42 and Isaiah 14, the Lord shall go forth like a mighty man. He shall stir up his zeal like a man of war. He shall cry out, yes, shout aloud. He shall prevail against his enemies. I will read it again. The Lord shall go forth like a mighty man. He shall stir up his zeal like a man of war. He shall cry out, yes, shout aloud. He shall prevail against his enemies. Those who captured Israel will themselves be captured, and Israel will rule over its enemies, and the peoples will take them and bring them to their place. Just think of that. Those who captured Israel will themselves be captured, and Israel will rule over its enemies, and the peoples will take them and bring them to their place. That is the land of Israel. Now, coming to the end of this program, I'll be reading from the Torah, the Holy Torah, or the Bible, Zacharias, the book of Zacharias. Thus said the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God, in truth and in righteousness. And it shall come to pass in that day that I will seek to destroy all the nations that come against Jerusalem. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Don't you dare mess with the children of Israel. Remember what their father has done to the Egyptians, and also remember what the shepherd boy David did to Goliath. It's a reminder to the world. Now, if you like my channel and you like what I'm saying, please press the subscribe button. Thank you.